Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our Bachelor of Science and Pre-Medical and Health Studies Academic Spotlight. My name is Ali Gravois, Senior Assistant Director of Admission here at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. I'm joined here by Professor Hawkins and one of our Pre-Medical and Health Sciences students, Henning Anderson. Professor Hawkins, do you mind introducing yourself? And then Henning, if you could do the same?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm the assistant director of the pre-med program here at MCPHS, and I'm also an instructor of public health here. And I've been teaching at MCPHS for about 2 years now, and I've been the assistant director for pre-med for 6 months.
Hi everyone, my name is Henning Anderson. I am a second year in the Pre-Med Health Studies program. I'm currently from Swansea, Massachusetts, where I'm learning remotely this semester.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. So I'm going to start off with you, Professor Hawkins. Can you please describe the strengths of the program that makes it the best choice for those that have been admitted to the pre-medical and health sciences major?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main strengths of the pre-med program here at MCPHS is that's just a very unique program. I've taught at a lot of schools. I went to school as well as an undergraduate, and this was the first school that I ever went to that had a specific major that was tailored for pre-med students. At other schools, there would be sort of like a pre-med advisor, but it was somebody that you might see if you're lucky once a year or once a semester. Whereas at MCPHS, we have entire faculty members and in fact, advisors themselves who are focused specifically on providing advice for our pre-med students. And we have a whole curriculum that's designed for preparing students to go to medical school or to go in some other clinical or medicine pathways in the future. So I think having that tailored attention is really valuable. Additionally, because of that, within the pre-med department, you have faculty members that have a lot of different areas of teaching and research interest as well. So you'll have within your pre-med curriculum, you'll be exposed to teachers who focus on, for example, me, I focus on public health. You have the director of the program, Jen Wade, who has a biology focus. You have psychology, instructors, chemistry, as well. So it really runs the gamut. So you have a great opportunity both to have that sort of focused attention on preparing you for medical and clinical work or school in the future, but then also get a sort of breadth to see all the different areas that are relevant to pre-med and medical education.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Henning, this one goes to you. Why did you choose MCPHS?
That's a great question, and I'm kind of put in a hard place because Professor Hawkins' answer kind of encompasses everything that I said, or everything I want to say. So the main reason I came to MCPHS obviously is the specific pre-med major. I love the balance of laboratory sciences with other courses, electives, and like the liberal arts to give me a wide range of knowledge after graduation, as well as all the prerequisites needed to go to med school is really important because I don't want to give up any of my electives I could spend taking a minor. I'm currently pursuing a biology minor, which I really wanted to do coming into school. So I don't have to give up any of those electives to get the prerequisites out of the way that needed to go to med school. Also, I love the fact that we have access to all those faculty mentors that Professor Hawkins mentioned. They all have many years of experience in both teaching and advising pre-med students. So I feel really comfortable being kind of under their wing in a way, knowing how many students that they've brought to the goal that I currently want to go to. And finally, I love the location of the school in kind of like a non-academic sense. I love how it's on the Longwood Medical area and we have access to all these healthcare institutions where we can get volunteer opportunities, internships, research, where literally just walking outside is great.
Awesome. That's a really great answer. I'm so happy that you decided to attend Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. So Professor Hawkins, can you talk a little bit about what you enjoy most about teaching at MCPHS?
One of my favorite things about teaching at MCPHS is that it's a school that's so much focused on teaching. And that might seem like a strange thing to say, but there are a lot of universities that, yes, obviously have students, but teaching isn't always necessarily the biggest focus of the school itself or even the faculty members at the school. So coming to MCPHS, I knew right away that this was a school that's primarily organized around providing the best education possible for the students. And that means from a faculty perspective, there's a lot of resources that are available to make our teaching as effective as possible. And I've been fortunate enough to make use of that. But then also there's a lot of support that's there to work with students. And one of the great things that I've enjoyed about teaching here is actually having the chance to do research with some of the students. So for example, right now, just recently, I was working on a research project with a sophomore pre-med student who actually approached me just sort of out of the blue and said, "Hey, do you have anything to work on?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a few different projects, and we've been working on it for almost a year now." And actually, was just recently, the research was actually recently accepted for publication, and that's something that's not always possible at other schools, where faculty members have a lot of different pressures that are being put on them. So I think that student focus is one of the aspects that I really enjoy about teaching at MCPHS.
What a great example. Thank you so much for sharing that with our viewers. Henning, this one goes out to you. So, can you share some examples of how your program has prepared you for your career in healthcare and the loaded question of what would you like to do after graduation?
To kind of answer this question, I'll definitely touch upon the loaded one first, to kind of get that out of the way, because obviously it's a little dangerous subject. My obvious plans are to go to med school after graduation, and that may entail a gap year or two just to do research and focus on my clinical experience. I kind of want that more maturity post graduation, but I'll be sure to stay on the Longwood medical area because I love the location. Um, Off something that MCPHS has prepared me for the school happened right off the bat first semester. Every student's enrolled in a class called ITM, or Intro to the Major. And it's a great class because it immediately gives you a sense of what your career goals might be. It's taught by a professor who's in your program. So it's actually taught by a biology professor I had this year. So I got to meet him right off the bat. And I got a sense of the different kinds of doctors there are and how to achieve that. So I really immediately started knowing what it'll take to achieve my goals. In addition to that, obviously there's all the prerequisites. You get that out of the way so you don't have to worry about what's actually needed to go to med school. And then there's specific classes that I know will prepare me for med school in general, like healthcare ethics is a great one because it definitely instills a sense of values and beliefs that I'll be sure to take with me as a competent and confident healthcare professional.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Henning, for sharing. And I wish you the best of luck with those goals. So that will be so great for you. Professor Hawkins, can you share some examples of accomplishments, appointments, accolades for faculty within your department?
Yeah, certainly. I think one great thing that I already referred to a little bit is that the pre-med faculty really run the breadth of different fields of that are related to health and medicine. And so you see a lot of really great work that's being done by faculty members, most of the time incorporating students. So for example, there are a number of different, I think, areas that you can talk about. So one instance would be actually work that's actually around improving the education for students and opportunities for students at MCPHS. So, for example, Dr. Kerry Griffin, who's the director of the public health program here, she's actually recently got a grant to develop a center for undergraduate research, which again is a really unique thing that there's actually a center that's there to support undergraduate students who are engaging in research. And it's been around for 2 years now, and they've had two successful annual grant applications where students can actually apply to get funding to do research with a faculty mentor right on campus. And that's something that I really haven't seen at any other school. In a similar way, there's a wide variety of scholarship that's being conducted by the faculty here. For example, Amanda Kettner runs a lab where she does psychology research, but she actually does it directly with, I think it's mice. It's either rats or mice, but she's doing psychology research directly with that. And I know a lot of students who have gone through that program and gotten a lot of firsthand experience doing research in that way. Other students have done chemistry research, for instance. So 2 years ago now, at our undergraduate research conference, I had a great conversation with a pre-med student who was doing research in a chemistry lab that was focusing on fluorescent tagging of chemicals, something I knew nothing about, but I had a great opportunity to really learn from him and see how much he was learning from that type of research that he was doing. And then there's also a lot of work that's being done by faculty members that's focused around service and serving the community in different ways. And I think during the coronavirus pandemic, I saw that particularly where some of our public health faculty were actually engaging directly with local community health departments at the city and town level and Massachusetts, and bringing students to be involved with those organizations so that they could be performing contact tracing. So contacting people who have tested positive for the virus and then coming into contact and contacting people that they have made a come in contact with to whom they might have transmitted it. So again, seeing a lot of service work that's being done by faculty. And in all cases, it's very much focused on bringing students in to give them experience in that work as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. It seems that the faculty and staff, as part of the pre-medical and health studies program, have really reached out and extended their hand to students and definitely the community. So thank you. Something that I would like to share is some of maybe Henning's experiences. So Henning, what are you involved in outside of the classroom? Any internships, volunteer experiences, social activities, rotations? What are you involved in?
Um, Putting what I've done aside, there are so many opportunities to get involved on campus. We have over 100 different clubs and professional organizations, which I had no idea was like the sheer number coming into the university, but I'm glad I took full advantage of it right out of the gates. I'm a member of the PreMed Society, which is a professional club that exists to have other pre-med students mentor other pre-med students and have like a space where we're all sharing information and being peers on each other's journey to go to med school, because it's a great one. I'm also a member of the Longwood Medical Area Volunteers, which is a club that is just for volunteering off campus and giving back to the community. It's also great things to put on a resume, all the volunteering work that you can do through this club. And finally, for clubs, I'm the representative for the Lifestyle Wellness Club for the Assembly Professional Clubs and Organizations. And I know that's such a mouthful, but it's great because it puts me on an executive board position and it also gives me a great leadership opportunity. Kind of in the classroom, I'm currently involved in a directed study project with a professor that works on a special project that they determine, and I get academic credit for it. So it's not a class, but I do get experience outside of like the core classes and electives, which is really nice. Seeing that I'm studying remotely, I have the opportunity to do stuff more in my area of Swansea rather than the Longwood medical area, which I've kind of been hyping up. But I've been volunteering at Rhode Island Hospital, which is a really great hospital. It's very large. I got lost today, actually. Didn't think I was going to make this in time, but I'm working in the oncology department where I get awesome patient communication and experience with that. I'm also working in the microbiology lab alongside the full-time microbiologists to assemble COVID testing kits, which is really nice because it makes me feel like I'm making a difference towards the COVID pandemic in my own way. And beyond that, I'm kind of active in my town with both the veteran agency and the scouting program.
Wonderful. Thank you so, so much for sharing. Those are some really great opportunities, and it looks like you've taken advantage of those in the Longwood medical area and then even in your own community. So Professor Hawkins, let's go back to some additional opportunities or tracks within the pre-medical and health sciences department and what some students may want to consider as part of their MCPHS experience.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think it's a really important one. And I made sure that I looked them all up before I joined this call, just because there are so many. And sometimes even as the assistant director, I lose track. But I think that's one of the great things. Another great thing about the program is that there are so many opportunities that are available to students and to lead them in particular directions. So like Henning, very much a number of students are on the sort of what I call the general pre-med curriculum that's based around making sure you get the pre-med prerequisites down, checking in during each semester to make sure that you're doing all of the necessarily steps to begin and be a good applicant, a competitive applicant when you're preparing for medical school or applying for medical school. But then also there are other pathways that are available for students that decide to go in different directions. So for those students that are still interested in going the MD route, we have a relationship with St. George's University, which is a medical school that's in Grenada. And there's an opportunity there. You can actually do either a 3+4 or a 4+4 program with that. So with a 3+4, that means that you take 3 years of your pre-med education at MCPHS, and then in your fourth year, you actually combine that with your first year of medical school. So you can actually complete your undergraduate degree and your medical school degree in 7 years, which is really a unique opportunity. And it's especially appealing for international students. A number of them are interested in that pathway. Additionally, for students who are interested in going the medicine route still, but rather than going for an MD, going for an OD, we have relationships with different universities where they can actually complete a DO degree in a similar way with a 3+4 type of agreement. For other students, we also have a physician assistant program where they can complete their education at MCPHS and then continue on into our PA program, which is actually at the Worcester campus. And I've known a number of students who have done that, and they've really enjoyed it quite a bit. And then we have other pathways as well. For example, we have optometry pathways and also dental medicine pathways that are available for students, again, who have a sense of what direction that they want to go in. And something that should be kept in mind for most of these pathways, not all of them, but for most of them, you don't have to know right away that you want to be in them. There are opportunities in your first or second year here to actually apply and join them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. It looks like there's so many opportunities for students that decide that they want to attend MCPHS. They can meet with great faculty members like you and really figure out what they'd like to do in their future. So thank you so much for sharing that. Henning, I'm going to pass this right back to you. If you can offer any advice to prospective students that are currently watching.
Oh my gosh, there's so much I could say to you guys. Obviously, I could sit here and tell you like kind of the usual stuff, like don't be afraid to get out there and meet potential students, and also to explore the topics and subjects that interest you, to see what you want to do. But I'm not going to do that. I'm really going to go like the route of telling you what I wish I knew coming to MCPHS. I'm going to give two big examples of that. So first of all, don't be afraid to get out there and get the help you need at MCPHS. There are so many different facilities, professors, faculty, and staff available to you and your disposal. There's free faculty and peer tutoring, which is something that I wish I used more my freshman year. I was like, oh, I got this. I'm too good for this. But really, I kind of like wanted to it, looking back retrospectively. Even if I did well in a class, it's always really nice to establish that extra knowledge and do better in the long run. Also, all the faculty are really nice at MCPHS. The professors are great, as Professor Hawkins has kind of shown throughout this. And it's really easy to build great relationships with them, which will benefit you in the long run, not only in class, but out of class as well, in the form of recommendation letters, as well as just relationships going forward. And secondly, I think most of all, like most importantly, is to enjoy your senior year and your summer before college. You can stress and you can worry and you can buy books right out of the gates, but really it's your future starts at MCPHS, and your MCPHS future will be a great one. So don't stress until you get there. And as I said, there's so many people available to help you. So you really shouldn't be worried, but just go out and enjoy your senior year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Henning. Professor Hawkins, we're going to close with the question of how can you share some examples of student outcomes and some great success stories that you've had of your students or some of your colleagues' students?
Yeah, there is so many great stories to tell, and I've been fortunate because I teach the pre-med capstone class, which is a class that all pre-med students take in their fourth year, where they actually do their own self-directed research project. And so as part of that class, I get to learn a lot about where the students are going in the future. Additionally, another great thing and an opportunity for me as a faculty member to get a sense of where students are going is that the school, we will do these sort of mock interviews with students who are applying for medical school or dental school. We'll try to be the really serious panel of interviewers to try to give them a sense of what it's going to be like, the types of questions that they'll have when they're doing their interviews for medical or dental school. So really the activity that students have engaged and have run the gamut. There have been students, a number of students who have gone on to medical school, a number of different schools. For example, just off the top of my head, I know one student who went on to study at the University of Southern California Medical School. A lot of students have taken advantage of the different pathways. I've known a few who this year and last year have begun going on to SGU, and I know that has gone very well for them. Other students have gone on to dental school. A few, for example, have gone to Boston University Dental School, Tufts University Dental School, and then, as I already alluded to, a number of students that I've known. For example, I teach a section of the ITM class, and we have these student or peer mentors, and one of them was actually just starting her first year of the PA program here at MCPHS, and she was telling me how great it had been for her and how easy the transition had been from her undergraduate pre-med program into the PA program. But other students as well will actually enter the workforce, not necessarily meaning that they're not going to medical school in the future, but to give them some experience before they apply to medical school. Sometimes I think there's a perspective that you have to go directly to medical school after graduating. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing to do as well. But sometimes it can be good to take a few years off, do some sort of research or volunteer opportunities or working in general, just to give yourself some more experience, and then also can make you a more competitive applicant. In fact, recently the average age of first-year medical students is actually 30, which I think can surprise some students. So some students that I've known that have actually gone in that pathway have gone on, and some of them have actually been working on the long-run medical area. So 2 students that I had in my capstone class right now are actually working as research coordinators at Dana-Farber. And that really came out of they were working as research assistants at Dana-Farber as they were undergraduate students, and then after they had their degree, and because they decided to take a few years off before they applied to medical school, they were able to get a promotion and actually start working as research coordinators. So a great opportunity. It's really too many to talk about. There's so many stories from the students that I've had and my colleagues have had in the pre-med program.
This program seems like it's a great fit for many students. You have so many great success stories. It looks like Henning's enjoying his time, and we're very lucky to have you, Professor Hawkins, part of the program as well. So thank you so much to Henning and Professor Hawkins for joining me today to get a little bit more insight on the Bachelor of Science in Pre-Medical and Health Studies. Again, congratulations on your acceptance. We look forward to hopefully welcoming you in the fall. Thanks again.